by without mentioning something. So later on the show, we're going to have a friend of mine, a very close, dear friend of mine, Kenny, is going to join us, and he's a retired firefighter from FDNY, and we work together at my fire department in South Carolina.
What is FDNY?
The New York Fire Department.
Yes.
Fire Department of New York. So Kenny worked there for, I think, 20 years, but he'll tell his story. We'll introduce him later. So right now, we are going to jump straight into our whiskey tasting tonight, not bourbon. Kevin, tell us what we're drinking.
Tonight we are drinking Courage and Conviction, American Single Malt Whiskey, Sherry Cask Finish. It's produced by the Virginia Distillery Company in Virginia, and it is 92 proof. It's been aged for 4 years.
Yeah. Aged in Spanish sherry casks.
Correct.
Which, man, as soon as I smelled this thing, I said, oh, that's Scotch. But Scotch is a single malt whiskey. So, this is 100% malted barley mash bill. It's made just like Scotch. I don't know how much they toast. I don't know if they use peat to toast this or anything, but do you know anything about that?
Yeah. So, again, on their label, it says American Single Malt Whiskey.
Yeah.
And you have to have certain criterias to be able to label it that way. And it's just like bourbon. If you want to be a true bourbon, you have specific requirements. Same thing here. American Single Malt Whiskey. It has to be 100% malted barley. It has to be distilled at a single location. It has to be mashed, distilled, and matured in the United States. And then it requires oak casks finish with a capacity no greater than 700 liters, distilled no higher than 160 proof, and bottled at a minimum of 80 proof.
Okay.
In order to call it an American Single Malt Whiskey.
I love it. And it must be something, too. They have to put it in this metal can. All the high-end scotches are in this cool metal can.
They all look like artillery shells.
Yeah, or mortar shell, really. Yeah, and you're definitely paying for that, right, on the back end.
Right. So, over the last couple of shows, when we talked about, bourbons are aged in certain barrels, and then we mentioned on the last show or last 2 shows ago a pipe, right?
Yeah.
A pipe of Madeira.
Right.
A pipe of Madeira comes in at 650 liters, and the 700-liter capacity of the American Single Malt Whiskey is called a gorda.
Oh, Spanish for fat.
It's commonly used in North
Fat
America
lady.
for the marrying or vatting of 2 different whiskeys, roughly twice the size of a butt,
Okay.
and equal to 4 hogsheads.
Nice. I love that. That's great. That's like when you ask down south to say how far away. Oh, it's just over yonder. Everything's an approximation off something from the farm or whatever.
Well, we have so many different barrels out there, but the reality is,
Yeah.
by classification, officially, there are 14 different barrel sizes.
Wow.
And, this is the gorda.
Gorda, like a fat lady. That's cool. Let me see these little pictures. A firkin. That's more for beer, right? That's usually a beer comes in a firkin.
If you flip,
quarter cask.
it'll tell you what they are.
Oh, firkin takes its name from Old Middle Dutch for fourth, implying a quarter of the size of a British barrel, traditionally used for dispensing cask ale. Well, there you go.
Yeah. The neat thing about the bottle, besides it just being a cool looking bottle,
Yeah, it's beautiful, actually.
they all come with this metallic or metal coin like medallion, where you'll see on some bottles they'll have the wax imprint. This one's a metal medallion, and it actually comes off, and it's magnetic.
Yeah, you can put it on your fridge.
Yeah, if you wanted to. I'll keep them on my bottle.
Keep it on the bottle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this Courage and Conviction in Virginia's Blue Ridge Mountains, where the winters are cold and dry and the summers are hot and humid, a native Irishman looked out at the blue-colored hills and saw the future. Have the courage of your convictions. Dr. George G. Moore.
Now, I'll warn you, if you're going to go out and purchase Courage and Conviction sherry cask,
A little pricey.
runs about $85 on average. But it's also not a bourbon. It's a American single malt whiskey.
Yeah. I like this. It's as good as Macallan or any of those scotches you could buy that are around the same price range, that are aged for way longer than this.
And hey, fellow listeners, you don't have to go out and buy foreign single malt whiskeys
Nope.
and get stuck with the tariff fees.
Yeah,
You can stick to an American single malt whiskey.
It's very good, man. I'm a fan of scotches. I like scotch. Some of them tend to be more on the sweeter side. The blended scotches, the what do they call those? Double malt or not single malt. Single malt is very specific. It's not blended. And then you have a blended Scotch whiskey like Johnny Walker Red or Chivas. I don't care for those at all. I like the single malts, especially the peaty, smoky. The really, man, they like punch you in the mouth like a strong Scotsman, hit you right in the face.
Yeah,
I like them.
gotcha.
It's an acquired taste.
It certainly is.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
This is a good start. If you want
This
to work
would
up
be.
to that and know what that really goes for, start here and work your way up.
So this is 92 proof. You said aged 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Lovingston, Virginia is where the Virginia Distilling Company is. At 92 proof, it's like, I was surprised. It's 92. It doesn't hit like a 92. It doesn't have the heat of a 92.
It does a little bit.
Until for me, it didn't come from the finish.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Same here.
So on the nose, I got definitely strong barley, honey, and with a little bit of smoke in there. When I tasted it, I wrote smoky honey and figs. I could definitely taste some figs in there. That might be the sherry coming through, I'm guessing. And on the finish, I just wrote smooth with like 4 O's. And
Smooth.
yeah, it lingers for me because I feel like it coats my whole mouth.
Yes.
It's oily, coats
Yep.
the mouth, without the heat going everywhere. The heat for me was on the middle to back of my tongue, and it doesn't show up until after I take a couple breaths in.
Yes.
So it's not offensive heat like this rye here. That's 130 proof. This is offensive. This is, it's like as soon as it touches your lips, it burns. But this was, I feel like I need a drink of water with this. Like it coats my mouth so much. I'm like, oh man, I need a drink of water.
Oh, okay.
So I wonder what an ice cube would do to this, or maybe a little spritz of distilled water.
Oh, scotch and soda.
Yeah, maybe that would be blasphemy. I don't know. What'd you get, Kevin?
Well, similar. I just come back from vacation. I was down in Charleston, where I stayed. I drank a glass of sherry every single night I was there.
Charleston.
Yeah, so every single night I was there, I drank sherry. And so I kind of got an edge here when I'm doing the tasting because as I bring into the initial aromas of it, I'm getting dark fruit and a little bit of pipe tobacco
Oh, okay.
in there. And on the taste, just like you said, the peaty, but the peatiness for me drifts towards smoky, like you were saying, a little bit nutty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting hints of the sherry notes, which is that deep fruit flavor, but it's not fruity. If that makes any sense.
Tannic, maybe? Is that the tannins in sherry?
Kind of like syrupy.
Okay. So distilled, like it's not distilled, but aged grapes. It's a little thicker.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then the finish for me, definitely a silky feel.
Yeah.
Like buttery toast.
Okay.
And that's the malted barley.
Yeah.
Clearly for me, that's what that buttery toast
Yeah, I'd be
feel
real
is.
curious how they toasted their barley. I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a cross between honey and golden color.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which
Yep, golden
really
honey.
kind of looks like a Scotch whiskey.
It does. As soon as I smelled it, I was like, "Dang, this is Scotch." And of course, it's American single malt whiskey.
And you know what? It's the first one we've had on the show
Mm-hmm.
that is not a bourbon, and I'm a fan. And I'm gonna put this one at 3 stars.
3. Okay.
Yeah, pretty happy with it. I like it.
I gave it 4 stars, man, because well, I'm a Scotch fan. I do like Scotch, and this is an American single malt whiskey.
Yeah.
So I gave it the extra star just because it's American.
Well, I appreciate that. I may do that, but I have to taste more whiskeys
Yeah.
or malt whiskeys before I really do that. I can always go back and change my rating later.
It is a little sweeter than I like.
Yes.
But I'm pleasantly pleased.
So, for the American single malt whiskeys, I'm pretty sure we're not harvesting peat like they do over there in
No, they probably use natural gas,
yeah,
something from a
not
fracking
sure.
site. Let's see.
Could be.
We'll look into it and get back to you, folks, because we're going to taste some more of these. I think I like them. I'm going to be on the hunt for American single malts now. And the name, Courage and Conviction, is very poignant to tonight's episode. Would that be the right word to use?
That's kind of funny that you mentioned the word poignant because, it comes out of Virginia.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of, again, George Washington, because we like the Founding Fathers.
Sure.
And George Washington, by the time he passed away, his estate was the largest whiskey producer
That's right.
in the United States.
Why was it the largest? Because he crushed all the other ones in the Whiskey Rebellion.
I think they weren't doing whiskey like he was doing whiskey.
No.
But he was trying to find a way to do something with his harvest. He had an abundance of harvest
Yeah.
and didn't know what to do with it to put it on market. So he goes, I'm going to make whiskey
Yeah. He was
because I didn't want to waste it.
He was a very enterprising gentleman. He was into everything.
Yeah, he developed to separate the grain from the husk and all that.
Mm-hmm.
He made it 2 stories. So above is where he put everything, and then you had the horse walk around.
Like a mill.
Yeah, with it churning all the grain and all that, and it all filtered
Separating the wheat from the chaff.
and it would filter to the second level
Oh, nice.
of
That's
his
smart.
estate, and then that's where everything was. So didn't do it the hard way; they threw it in the air.
Yeah, they would have to thresh it, I guess.
Yeah, he was pretty ingenious.
Smart dude. Well.
But poignancy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we're talking about 9/11,
That's right.
and that's why we're talking about this particular brand, courage and conviction.
Right.
You just got to have both.
And I think I talked to Pete when he was on our show about this as a firefighter. We have this problem with guys who come on the job and they just want the T-shirt. They don't have the courage of their convictions. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk.
I see that more as police officers than anybody else.
Well, yeah, they're just gangbangers with a badge. That's a topic for another show. But every once in a while you'll run into a guy who shouldn't be on the floor, and that's what we could like. You shouldn't be here, dude. And they show themselves on the fire ground when stuff is burning. You see who has the courage of their convictions and who does it. And my buddy Kenny is one of them. I had the privilege of working with him for many shifts. He was actually a volunteer, then became a part-timer, and he always worked on my shift.
Right, because this was actually after he retired from New York, right?
Retired and moved to South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
and we worked on a county station together. So we're going to take a break. We're going to call Kenny on the phone, and we will be right back, folks. Fireground, when stuff is burning, you see who has the courage of their convictions and who does it. And my buddy Kenny is one of them. I had the privilege of working with him for many shifts. He was actually a volunteer, then became a part-timer, and he always worked on my shift.
Right, because this was actually after he retired from New York, right?
Retired and moved to South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
and we worked on a county station together. So we're going to take a break. We're going to call Kenny on the phone, and we will be right back, folks. And we're back. Thank you for, well, there's not much of a pause during the recording because I edited that out.
Right, there was no pause at all.
Let's welcome Kenny to the show. Kenny, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. How you guys doing?
Very, very good, man.
Good to meet you, Kenny.
We're getting
Same here.
some fall-like weather. I think it's called the false fall here. It was in the 50s this morning, and it only got up to mid-70s today?
Yeah, and the first day of our trail ride will be the hottest day of the entire week. We're on the trail, 95 degrees
95.
now. Where'd that come
It's going to be
from?
back in the 90s, mid-90s.
In the hottest open area of Missouri where there's no tree cover.
Awesome. What's it like down there in South Carolina, Kenny?
It's good. It actually starting to be a little cool.
Nice.
We're here ourselves. Love it.
Yeah.
Perfect, actually.
We won't give away your exact location. We won't
Yeah,
blow-
that's good. Especially I don't want no Missourians coming in here.
There's too many New Yorkers there. Missouri won't go. So Kenny and I worked together at the last department I worked at, and he drove for me quite a bit and gave a lot of wisdom and guidance. He was like my right-hand man. And if there was an issue, something I needed, leadership question I had, tactical question, Kenny was right there with me always. And like I said, Kenny started out as a volunteer at that department. And how long were you volunteering before you went part-time?
Probably maybe a couple of years.
A couple of years. And
Yeah, maybe 2 years.
then he decided to come on as a part-timer, and you always seem to work on my shift.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he chose to work on my shift, Kevin.
That is true.
But we had a good time together. We had a good crew, and I don't know. Did you show up on that structure fire, that last fire I fought? Were you there that day?
I don't remember.
The fatality.
Oh, and the trailer?
Yeah.
No, I was not there.
Okay. But yeah, me and Kenny had a lot of good times. A lot of good times at the fire station, BS and breaking balls. It was great. So Kenny, how long were you a fireman with FDNY?
20 years.
20 years. And what year did you start?
I started October 24th of 1983.
There you go, 1983. I was all of 4 years old.
I was 13.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Was it a family thing that caused you to do it, or did you just want to be a
Pardon me?
firefighter?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Was it a family reason why you wanted to join, or were you just wanting to be a firefighter?
No, actually, on Long Island, it was all volunteer, and one day I saw a big brush fire, and I said, that looks like fun.
Hmm.
And I went down there and became a volunteer, and one of my captains in a volunteer station was a New York City fireman. And then after dealing with him, I said, okay, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do, and took the test and eventually got on.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so how many people were there when you took your test?
When I took my test, it was like between 40 and 80,000. I don't remember the number, but it was quite large.
40 and 80,000 people. And then how many did they hire?
Applicants. Well, my list number was like 5,000, I think 5,863 or something like that.
Yeah.
And they got to my number. I don't know how much more they got after that.
Wow.
Yeah. And then your recruit school, when you went to recruit school, how many guys were in your class?
I'm going to say probably maybe 100.
100. Okay.
And that's a small class.
And when you take the test, you're just taking a civil servant's exam, right? But it could be like police, fire, trash. Is it all together, or was it just FDNY only?
It was just FDNY. Each agency has their own test.
Okay, so about 80,000 people.
It's like signing
It
up
was
for the
something- I
it's
know
like
it
signing
was
up for the
pretty cool.
draft.
Yeah, and they rank
I
you
know it.
by test score, right?
Yeah, that's it. And if you were a vet, you vets get like 5 points, so you can use that 5 points to
Yeah.
get on.
Okay. All right. So
Uh,
1983, you're a rookie. What house did you go to?
I went to Engine 227 in Brownsville. Went to Brownsville, Bed-Stuy area.
Okay. And how was that? How was your first shift?
First shift was great. Caught my first job that night.
Nice. Okay. Explain what a job is for everybody who's not a fireman.
A job is a working fire.
A working structure fire. That means like it's actually burning.
That is correct.
Did you guys still have the call boxes back then?
The what?
The boxes, the call boxes on the
yeah.
street.
Yeah, they had. When I got there, they had taken the pull boxes out,
Okay.
and there was a box there with police fire on it.
Oh, okay. But they still call it box whatever number, right?
Yes, they do.
When the tones drop. And so how far into your shift was this job?
It's a little hard to remember, but
Oh, sure.
I think it was like 1 in the morning,
Oh, okay.
something like that.
All right.
Yeah, I started at 6 p.m.
That's right, because you
around
guys
1
run
o'clock in the morning.
2 shifts, right? Up there?
Yeah, your day tours were from 9 to 6, and your night was from 6 to 9.
Okay. So do you remember the details of that fire? Like getting on the truck and I know it was like 50 years ago, but
We got on the truck, went down the block. It wasn't too far down the block.
no.
And I think we made a left on Herkimer, and a right was the building. Pulled around the rear, got out, stretched the line, waited for them to pop the door, and went in and stopped putting the fire out.
You were on the nozzle?
Yes, I was.
I appreciate your memory.
Well, every fireman remembers their first fire. It's like their first woman, Kevin, or their first firefight. It's
Yeah,
it's
I'm not
special.
gonna remember probably the rest of the job though.
No, they all run together, especially in New York because there's like 2 or 3 per night usually.
Was your job more exciting or boring than the movie Backdraft?
You can't compare TV to reality.
Did you ever have a naked woman lying on top of
Your hose bed.
as you're going to a call?
I cannot reveal any information on
Yeah,
that.
there you go. I can
All
neither
right.
confirm nor deny.
All right. I'm pretty sure, not everything in Hollywood is made up, so it has some reality to it.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Not that I've seen or heard.
Yeah. So you joined in 1983. What were you doing on September 11th, 2001?
September 11th, I was also in a different firehouse. I was in ladder 158, I believe, at that time.
Where was that located?
I was in Queens.
Queens.
And if I'm looking, I'm from Missouri, so I know where the Twin Towers where's Queens in relation to that?
Well, my firehouse was probably a good hour away.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
And you were off shift that day, right?
Yeah, I was off. I was getting a haircut that morning. And on the way home, I was listening to Howard Stern.
Mm.
And then that's when he reported that the one plane hit the tower.
Okay.
And as soon as I got in the house, I turned the TV on, saw the tower burning. I was like, damn. And then, 20 minutes later, whatever, the second plane hit.
Yeah.
And once that happened, I picked up the phone, called the firehouse, and they just said, get in here.
Yeah.
So
Well, you had worked in Manhattan at one point in time, right?
I have worked shifts in Manhattan.
Shifts. Like, okay, you just picked up shifts there?
Well, I would report the work, and if we had an extra man, and if there was we ended up going to, because of manpower cuts over the years, we went to citywide detailing.
Oh.
So we could have been sent anywhere in the city.
Hmm.
So
I probably,
sorry, I was going to say from when you got the call or when you called in, they said get in here, and from where you were, how difficult was it to get there?
well, probably the most difficult thing is I had to run to the gas station where my van was because I had it in for an inspection.
Oh.
Thank God it wasn't up on the lift. And I got out of that, and we just started trucking in. And Southern State Parkway is a major parkway. And every emergency person that was cops, firemen, EMS, you could tell we were in the left lane doing about 100 miles an hour. And I was at my firehouse. Normally it takes me about 30 minutes. I got there probably in 15.
Wow. So, at this time, the two towers are still standing,
Yes.
and they're trying to gain entry to the fire. Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're working. They're both towers. They're going up the stairs.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing their job. Basically.
Could you hear the radio traffic at the station?
Not on the portables. No.
Okay.
Well, all we were watching, we were actually just watching the TV in the kitchen. We were told to stand by in the firehouse.
Uh-huh.
So we were just in the kitchen, and then once the first collapse came down,
Yeah.
we all, then it came over the voice alarm for us to meet everybody at this one a park, to converge into this park, and then from there we were supposed to go to into Manhattan.
What was going on while you were waiting around at the fire department and just watched on television? What was the mood?
Well, even before then, when the second plane hit, like what, because you knew at that point this wasn't an accident.
No, we were probably, most of us were probably angry.
Okay.
And then watching the people jump out the windows, and they're like,
Yeah.
this is not good. But we never saw the collapse come.
Right, because you all had, was it a fire chaplain who died from someone falling out of the window?
I don't remember if he was hit by a person or was he hit with debris.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was while they
But
came
he
down.
was listed as the first casualty.
Yeah. So what was the conversation like as you guys were in the house? You're in the kitchen, and that's the kitchen for firefighters. That's the heart of a station. That's where we sit and eat together and break balls, and that's where we get close with each other, right? The fire ground and the kitchen table. So
Absolutely.
what were you guys talking about, and what was the? I mean, obviously the mood. We understand it was pretty dire, but were you guys chomping at the bit to get down there?
Oh, I'm sure we were. But we knew we had to stand fast because we didn't know where we were going to be sent. We could have been sent to another fire station.
Yeah, because you still have to cover. You still have to cover your area. You have to be available for other calls, right?
That's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing. The crew's working; they weren't going anywhere right away.
Yeah.
So, but basically, when we're sitting there, I don't know what we're saying. We're saying, geez, I hope we can get water on this.
Yeah.
Look at the jumpers. There wasn't, much really that I can remember that were really said.
Yeah. Have you ever gone back and listened to the radio traffic?
I have over the years, and one of the best transmissions I heard was from Chief
Oreo Palmer.
I can't think of his. Yes.
Yeah.
When he said, "Get a couple of 2.5s up here, we could put this fire out." Now,
Yeah.
like, my God.
Yeah.
Chills.
So a couple 2.5s. Kenny, can you explain to our listeners how much water that it actually is? Like normally you fight a structure fire with 1 3/4 inches, right?
A residential, we did. A commercial building, we used a 2.5.
Yeah. Right. And so a 2.5 is the diameter of the hose, and every foot of a 2.5 is what, like 3 gallons of water. Every foot, maybe a gallon and a half, 2 gallons.
Hey, you're asking the wrong person about things like that. All I cared about was the water coming through.
Yeah.
And as long as it was knocking down the fire.
The pressure, right? Give me more pressure. That's
yeah. Bigger the fire, the bigger the hose.
That's right. It's not very difficult, right? There's no secret to it. It's not rocket surgery. You just put water on the hot stuff and make it go away.
That's right.
So Oreo he was a battalion chief, right?
I believe so.
And he climbed the stairs and he made the assessment that give me a couple 2.5s, we'll put some water on and get this fire out.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. And how many flights did they have to climb to get there to the fire?
believe it was. I think we got up to the 83rd floor.
Yeah,
I believe.
I think that's right. And so you're talking guys carrying extra section of hose, tools, their SCBAs with their air cylinders plus spare cylinders, and all their bunker gear. You weigh you got probably an extra 100 to 120 pounds on you. You think, Kenny?
I would say at least between 80. I'll say between 80, 100, 110 or something like that.
Yeah, it depends on what you're carrying. I mean, if you're carrying a high-rise pack, which is like a bundle of hose, you're weighed down pretty good.
Yeah. Not fun.
No, and bunker boots too. Man, that's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, there were companies taking rests. I mean, you had to. I mean, you got up 30 floors, you had to take a rest.
Yeah. Plus, you had all the people coming down that you're kind of dodging.
Yeah.
And helping them down.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a problem too.
So you're sitting at the station there in Brownsville, you said?
No, I was in Queens then.
Queens. Okay, so you're sitting at the station in Queens, and you're how far away from downtown Manhattan?
A good hour.
An hour. And then they made the call, like, hey, get to the park. What park was it?
I don't know if it was called Union Park or Union Turnpike Park. I'm not sure the name of the park. But,
okay.
Once the collapse, the first collapse happened,
yeah.
within probably a minute, they came over to voice alarm. All companies in this area converge, meet there.
Okay.
So first we started running around trying to grab as much tools as we could because we really couldn't strip the rigs because they had to respond in the area.
Yeah.
So I threw a bunch of guys in my van. We raced over to there, and we had a bunch of tools and masks and bottles and things ready to go. And I went up to a chief that I knew him as a lieutenant years ago, but now he's a chief. And I said, hey, because I was watching the buses go down the turnpike.
Yeah, they were school buses, right?
No, they were regular
city buses.
The long buses for public transportation.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I told him, I said, why don't we grab some of these buses and we just on a bus and head in there?
Mm-hmm.
So he says, all right, get some buses. So I remember me and another guy, we jumped out on the turnpike, got in front of a bus, flagged them down, and basically he opens the door. I said, all right, we're taking your bus, everybody get off. And no one asked questions.
Yeah.
They must know exactly what we're doing, and everybody just piled off the bus. And I remember looking up at the driver, and I said, you want to take us in? And he says, where? I said, into Manhattan. He goes, no. I said, all right, get out of the bus.
Okay. That was my next question. You put a chauffeur in there?
Yeah, well, as soon as we had two buses, and I ran back to the chief, and I said, hey, we got two buses. We're just going to need a couple of truck chauffeurs. Mm-hmm. And then
truck chauffeurs are drivers of the engines or whatever apparatus. They call them chauffeurs up there.
They were ladder. The chauffeurs were ladder drivers.
Ladder drivers. Okay. So they knew how to drive a big rig, a big long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good call.
And then that right then and there, I believe it was my battalion commander. He walked over, and he goes, "Nobody's going anywhere. We're going to do this in an orderly fashion."
Okay.
And I looked up at him, and are we allowed to curse on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I looked up at him. I said, "What are you, a fucking asshole? We got guys trapped, and we're gonna." I said, "This ain't gonna work." So a buddy of mine who was in my firehouse was a chief on Long Island, and he had his chief's car. So I was like, "Hey, Jimmy, let's just go."
Yeah.
So a bunch of us were ready to pile in a chief's car, and then they came over to us and said, "No, don't go anywhere. We're gonna jump in the buses, and we'll use your chief's car as a lead car." So I said, "Okay," and that's what we did. Within maybe a half hour, boom, we were ready to go, and we started to head in.
Yeah. So, at what point could you see the smoke rising? And could you see it from the park, or like as you got down the turnpike?
I don't remember seeing it from the park, but once we got up on Long Island Expressway is another main thoroughfare, and as soon as you got to a certain point, you were able to see the smoke.
Yeah.
And that was another thing because they were diverting traffic off of this expressway, which was backing up things.
Right.
And I had turned around and I looked at the buses. They were weaving in and out of traffic. And I finally said to Jimmy, I said, forget it, Jimmy, let's go. And we just went ahead and just left
Just
him.
left him behind.
Shot him there.
And so do you remember like your thoughts when you saw how big that cloud is? Because at this point, one tower's still standing, right? Or were they both down?
No, both the towers are down. 7 World Trade was on fire. That was the last one to come down, I think.
Right.
But the other small ones, then when they were on fire, but when we got in there, I mean, it was kind of chaos.
Sure.
Everybody,
Well, because command center was at the base of the tower, right? And it got kind of it got crushed, didn't it?
Yeah, both commands got wiped out.
Yeah. The chief of the department, the chaplain, and the all the commissioner and all the command staff, right?
Yeah, on both sides, both towers, both command centers got wiped out.
And something. Can you talk about the communication a little bit? Like, was there a communication breakdown? When the command center went down, who were you talking to on the radios?
Well, number one, I didn't even have a radio.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you're off duty, so yeah, your radios are at the station, right? So it was just face to face,
radios at the station.
Face to face conversation.
Yeah, basically. I mean, when I got there, I know there was one rescue going on where that I think it was ladder 6 that was trapped with a woman.
Uh-huh.
They were able to make it out, but it took them like 10 hours or something to get them out.
Wow.
But we were just floating around trying to do different things. I tried getting. My boss said to me, he said, "See if you can get an engine." And I remember going to an engine, and I jumped in it, and then the chauffeur was nearby, the MPO, and he kind of yelled at me, and I had to get out of the rig. I don't know what he thought I was going to do. But,
yeah. So at this time, like, there's no water pumping, right?
It took a little while because I think they had to. We finally actually drafted out of the Hudson.
Yeah.
Or the East River.
Well, you had the pumper boats, didn't you? They were out there.
Yeah, but I don't know if they were involved with water right away. Because I mean, it's not that close.
No.
To the if anything, they were probably pumping water into hose lines that they that they stretched for that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I never saw it, so I don't know.
So
I know drafting was done, and that's something that's never done.
Who was the first officer you came in contact with? Was it a captain, a lieutenant, a battalion chief? Like, what the trumpets, or the bugles? A lieutenant has 1 bugle, captain has 2. Were you looking for those guys, or were you just trying to get in there and get to work?
We just really wanted to get into work, and you just jumped on a line,
Mm-hmm.
But first, I remember walking down the street. Well, this first thing that was freaky is we had this thing where if you had a probie in your firehouse, he would be here for a year, and then he'd be sent to another firehouse for a year, and then another one, and then finally come back.
Wow.
Well, we sent a kid to 10 Engine and 10 Truck, which is across the street from the Trade Center.
Ooh.
And I was thinking about him.
Yeah.
And here I am walking down the street with somebody, a couple of guys, and it's like a snowstorm. You can't even really see anything.
Yeah.
And about a quarter of a mile away, I see one individual standing at the end of the block, and it was him.
Wow.
It was our guy. Yeah, I was like, wow.
How did he survive that? Did they tell him, hey, Proby, stay here, you think?
I don't know. I don't know if he just got in there before me.
Yeah.
Or was he there? That I don't know.
Okay.
I would imagine. I have a feeling he got in there afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. So a probie is a probational firefighter. That's when you're the new guy, the rookie. You're called a probie, and you kind of get passed around to all the different stations to get maximum experience. And they kind of they really like fit, see where your best fit is too, right?
Well, I don't know if it was really that because he was coming back to us.
They come back. Okay.
But it was more to get a different feel of different buildings, different areas.
Okay. All right.
And each borough is kind of different.
Yeah.
So when you finally got to work, what was it you were doing?
first thing I was ordered by I think it was a chief. I don't know who this was I was with. I don't remember if I even knew him or not because it's been so long. But he got the collapse onto the left, and 7 was to the right, burning like hell. Many floors. I don't know how many floors are burning, but he says, we got to get into the collapse part because there's a hearse tool in there, and we can't afford to lose any equipment. So me and this guy, we go in there. Now, at first I look up at the burning building, like, damn.
Yeah.
So then we went into the building. We're walking around. We got no light really, and we're in there for like maybe 10 minutes. And finally, I said to this guy, I said, "Let's get out of here."
Yeah.
So we come out. The chief's gone. Now here it is. I'm thinking
he must have been in shock, right? You think he was in shock?
I really don't know. But what puzzled me afterwards, even for years, I always thought, why would they be asking me to look for a hearse tool in a building?
That's ridiculous.
Well, here it is. Believe it or not, 24 years, well, actually almost 24 years later, I was listening to Getting Salty, and there's a guy who wrote a book about Ladder 4. Because Ladder 4 was accused of stealing while this was going on.
What?
Yeah. There's a book called Finding John. It describes everything that happened, and it exonerates Ladder 4.
Yeah.
But Ladder 4, I found out, used a hearse tool to open up elevator doors so people were trapped.
Oh, okay. So
and, for years.
Getting Salty, for those who don't know, the Getting Salty podcast is an awesome podcast to listen to if you have any interest whatsoever in firefighting or FDNY. Being salty, Kenny. What does that mean? What does that mean if you're a salty fireman?
That's usually an experienced guy.
Yeah, you got a little white in your mustache. Your helmet's dirty, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, you got the salt on the brim of your hat from sweating, from working, and that's every fireman. Every fireman worth his
salt.
Yeah, worth his salt. Any good fire. Well, Kenny, I've explained this before, but there's a difference between being a firefighter and a fireman, right?
Yes.
So
yes, there is.
If you're a fireman, you got some salt on your hat. That's what we say. You have some salt on your helmet. Firefighters are just there for the T-shirt and the paycheck, basically, and the chicks. A good fireman usually, they don't have the cleanest uniform. Their gear's a little dirty. Their helmets have kind of melted a little bit, and they get in there.
Just like the movie Backdraft.
Just like Backdraft. They were right on some things.
But, I always had my coat open, and I never wore a mask.
No. You did when you were on my crew. You wore your mask.
Yeah, I know.
I kind of just want to know, you're giving me some tidbits about some of the things that you're going through. I just want to know, really, what was going through your mind? I mean, you mentioned anger, and you mentioned, you just wanted to get there, but you're there, and not really knowing what's going on, what to do. There's no real command and control at this moment. What are you feeling?
Well, I'm either grabbing guys and saying, "Hey, let's do this," or I meet up with people I knew from other companies, and I just jump on their line and start to try to work. And either most of the work we're talking about was like a bucket brigade.
Okay.
Because you're a senior man by now, right? You're like 18 years in, 17 years in.
Yeah, I actually had about 17 years.
Yeah.
So at this point, it wasn't about the fire at Building 7. You're thinking about recovering any potential survivors that you may be able to come across.
Yes, that's exactly what we all were thinking, that we were going to pull survivors out of this thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because Tower 7...
reality set in.
Tower 7 was fully evacuated, right? Did you guys get that word?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Those... I don't know how, when did they... Oh, they probably all left way before the collapse.
I don't think they all showed up for work that day, but that's another conversation. So you're thinking this is a recovery, not a rescue at this point?
Well, eventually, then we realized, if this is going, basically we're talking like the next day, we're like, all right, this is definitely just going to be a recovery. This, that's when they started bringing machines in and stuff.
So
Things were getting more organized.
before it got dark that day, because this happened at what 9:30 Central or 9:30 Eastern time, right? Nine
Yeah,
o'clock,
because it was
around.
7:30. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had
It was a beautiful day.
you had a lot of daylight. It was a beautiful, clear day.
Oh, there wasn't a cloud in the sky.
No, and so you had a lot of daylight to get on that pile, which it became to be named the pile. But I'm sure you could see ladder trucks and engines, like the tail of them hanging out under some rubble, and you wonder, like, are guys in there, right?
Oh, absolutely. But the only thing, like now you said it was clear. The thing is, it was clear maybe if you got a break in all the debris and dust.
Yeah, so let's talk about the dust, because the dust becomes a very big player in the long-term story, right?
A lot. Well, even that day, I mean, none of us, really none of us had masks.
Yeah.
And we were using I was using my hood, my Nomex hood, to kind of put it over my mouth and nose, but it just started getting jammed up where you couldn't even breathe. So it got to the point where you didn't bother.
You're just back to the old days using your mustache as a filter, right?
Yeah, well, I had a little mustache. No, actually, years ago they used their beards.
Yeah. So when did the focus come on the pile of rubble from the two World Trade Centers, and it was just crawling with firemen and EMS workers, and you guys are just trying to pull rubble apart and looking for survivors before it became a real, organized rescue recovery effort?
I would say probably 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
Probably 48 hours, and that's when we started to get where, okay, we're going to go to different shifts, bringing in heavy equipment, and then it was like, okay, we're just going to pull this part and start working at that point. We're not going to get survivors out of it.
You're kind of maybe you're answering my question, but when you first got down there and you actually started getting to work and doing something, how long were you there before you were relieved or took a break?
I think I was there around 12 hours, and then a bunch of us jumped on a bus. Matter of fact, we kept the buses, and we took them back to the firehouse, and then we would go home, wash up, get some sleep, then report back the next morning, jump on the bus. And that went on for, I guess, about a good week or two, and then we went to a platoon system where, I spent the first month down there, basically.
Okay.
On I think we did 12-hour shifts. I don't remember, to tell you the truth, exactly.
Yeah.
How long did it take before the dust started to settle?
Oh, over the pile itself, where I'll say it took definitely a few days to a week, but once you started kicking it up with machines and everything, it was constantly there.
Right.
It was in the rigs. I was driving out my rig from Queens, went down there eventually, and 6 months later they called it in for it to be deconned.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was always dust everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that day we lost 343 firemen. I'm sure you knew a bunch of them personally.
I lost 22 friends that day.
Yeah, imagine that. Like, even in the Army, Kevin, like in combat, losing 22 guys out of your unit or 22 friends in one day.
Right.
When's the last time? I mean, what is that, D-Day?
Oh, it could have been any battle in World War II, really.
Yeah, the big battles, like 22 guys in one day. And that's on American soil that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny, did you have a sense of the impact on the entire nation that this had at that point?
Me personally, no, not right away.
Yeah.
I mean, we also when we started hearing that the Pentagon, of course, we heard the Pentagon was hit.
Right.
Then the one that went down in Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh.
I'd have to relate that to anger.
Yeah.
You and just about everybody else.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when this turned into a recovery effort, you said 24 to 48 hours later, you worked 12 hours straight, which is about 4 times longer than a normal fireground operation. Usually if you make the initial attack on a fire, you make the initial attack, knock down the fire, and then you're kind of out of it, right, Kenny?
Yeah, basically after about an hour's worth of work, you're done.
Yeah, you got to go to recovery, and another crew's coming in to take over for, mopping up operations. And so you're going for 12 hours straight. What was that like when you got home to your wife that night? Did you go home to your wife? Did you go home that first night?
Yeah, I got home. I don't even know what time I got home. I just threw my gear on the garage and went inside, took a shower, and went to bed.
Yeah.
And I got up the next morning and went back.
Was there any conversation that happened between you and your wife, or did she just understand?
I think we just hugged and probably some tears.
Yeah.
And then said, I got to go to bed.
Yeah.
I really don't remember too much of that.
That's
honestly
like one of the incredible things about firemen's wives is that it's like they're a part of the fire service too. They know what it's like, and they're after how long were you married to your wife at this point?
We're married 40 years.
4 years. So she had a good taste of
40. Oh yeah.
She knows.
That's why she wasn't so happy when I went full time here.
Yeah. Yeah, like my wife Caitlin, the sense of relief she had when I told her I'm not gonna go back in the fire service, that I'm just gonna get a regular civilian job. She was so relieved, and she was very thankful because she worried every time. And they all do. They all worry all the time.
How long did you participate in the recovery before you were relieved?
How long did I what?
Participate in the recovery before you were relieved of the duties.
As soon as they were going to do a platoon system, I told my bosses that I'm going to be in the first one.
Okay.
And so I basically worked the first month.
Okay.
My
First
job,
month.
instead of reporting to the firehouse, I went down there for a month, and then I was taken off. And then another crew came in, but I never went down after that.
Oh, okay. So you just went back on your regular shift?
Yeah.
Okay.
So after that point, you're off that duty and you're back in your own station. What was going through your mind then? I mean, over time, obviously you're going to go through periods of reflection.
Well, with me, maybe because of the years I've had on and the amount of death I saw and the fires I went to, that kind of helped me, I think, because I didn't really lose it like other guys.
So it was still a fire and a collapse, just bigger than others.
Well, it was more than that, but I didn't need any therapy or anything. I wasn't getting nightmares, and the only thing we all ended up with this cough. We called it the 9/11 cough.
Mm-hmm.
We all had for about a year, and then it finally dissipated.
And you haven't had any
for some of us.
Residual effects?
My lungs were a little messed up. That's probably about it.
Yeah.
Not as bad as other guys. I mean, we lost due to medical. We already passed the amount of guys we lost that day.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're up to about 380 of the guys died from that.
And y'all had to fight for the recognition of that, right?
Oh yeah, they fought guy from Engine 234. I can't think of his name now.
John
but
Stewart
he's
helped
one-
out quite a bit.
Yes, John Stewart did a lot for us.
It was the FDNY version of Agent Orange.
Yeah, it was more immediate
Yeah, I guess you
though, for
can.
sure. But,
I
yeah,
guess you can look at it that way.
yeah. Were you there when the president showed up?
No, not when I didn't see the president, but I know my guys were taking a rest one day on the sidewalk, and President Clinton was there,
Oh boy.
and he says, "Hey, if I could do anything for you," and one of our guys handed him a bucket. That didn't go over too big with him.
Kidding.
He just walked away.
Too bad.
Yeah.
He probably could have got a third term if he stood there and started picked up ash.
Yeah, old Slick Willie, man. He got out of another one.
Wow.
Yeah, but no, I wasn't there with when Bush was there.
Bush. I remember watching that when he was standing there on the pile and saying, we're going to get him and all that kind of stuff. But what about when he threw out that pitch at Yankee Stadium in the World Series? Do you remember that?
I have no idea if I saw that or not.
No. See, this I told you. Kenny's he's a blue collar fireman, man. He don't give a
I wasn't a Yankee fan. I'm actually not a baseball fan, so I probably that's why I didn't. Say
No, but
I really care.
I appreciate the story because it's a different perspective than you're getting through the news media or some documentary on television.
Yeah, and we're not going to go down the conspiracy trail, Kenny, and talk about all the stuff, weird stuff about that day.
I won't let Matt.
We just want to talk about, your story and remembering your brothers that didn't go home that night. And, this was like, I mean, obviously we all weren't around for Pearl Harbor when that happened. But this is like the Pearl Harbor of our generation, right? It kicked off a 20+ year war.
Oh, easy. Pearl Harbor, we had 2,403 casualties. Surprise attack on the United States.
Mostly military.
Yep. Japanese attack in Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. And then 9/11, we had a total of 2,977.
Yeah.
So it was greater than Pearl Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't.
Mostly civilians.
Right. This attack wasn't against the military. This attack was just a terrorist attack against civilians.
Yeah.
Which made it worse because you can't fight a terrorist.
No, it's a military tactic. Terrorism is a tactic, and when you say we're going to fight terrorism, it's kind of like I'm going to get rid of ants.
Right. You're fighting an idea, and you're not going to defeat an idea.
But
But that's not what we're here for.
in September of 2001, that was the furthest thing. It wasn't until October, really, when we were like, oh, we're going to war. We know who did this, and we're going to Afghanistan, blah, blah, blah.
No, I disagree. I knew that day we were going to go to war.
Well,
we had no idea who or what yet, but we were going to war.
Yeah.
I knew it that day.
I mean, I
Oh yeah, no question about that.
I know
Yes.
who did it like 6 months before.
Stop, Matt. Save it for another show. Not accurate.
But Kenny, so you worked another 2 years at the fire department. Well, dude, wasn't it like a week later there was another plane crash in Brooklyn?
No, because the planes weren't flying.
No, it was in the Rockaways.
Rockaways?
Like basically, if you fly out of Kennedy Airport, there's like a strip of land that you need a bridge to get to. It's called the Rockaways.
Okay.
And I was actually down in Atlantic City, and when I heard that, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!"
Yeah.
And I mean, that was a bad crash, but it turned out to be mechanical.
Yeah, and it hit a residential area.
Oh yeah, running through a couple of houses, few houses. Yeah. Actually, my company went there and had to cut people out of that plane.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's terrible. And I'm sure there's like immediate flashbacks, right? Immediately you're thinking terrorism again, another attack.
Oh, absolutely. That went right to my mind right away.
Yeah, that wasn't until November.
Man, in my memory, it was like 2 weeks later.
I don't even remember what it was. I know it was fairly close. I mean, it's not like it was
Yeah.
a year later.
Yeah. So when you go back on your shift, right? I mean, obviously your shift was off that day. Did you have a full shift when you showed up, or did you have guys like not show up for work, or what's up?
You're talking about the shift for the trade center?
No, for your like regular house shift.
Oh yeah, no, it was the regular shift was covered. I mean, if it wasn't one of our guys, it was somebody working overtime or being detailed over.
Yeah.
We still had a full shift. And I'll tell you, the volunteers, we were pretty close to. We're basically on the borderline of Long Island. I mean, there's no bridge or anything. You just drive across a building, and you're in Long Island.
Yeah.
And it's all volunteers. And this volunteer company, Elmont, they were washing out gear 24/7 for months.
Yeah.
They had these nice washers and dryers and everything, so they would pick it up and deliver it back to the firehouse. It was really nice.
That's great.
That was another thing. A lot of Long Island companies came in to New York City and
Covered
manned
out.
firehouses,
Wow. That's good.
which is unheard of.
Yeah. Yeah, we were you with me that day? We covered a house for a funeral over in North Carolina. Were you riding with me that day?
No.
Maybe not. We had a captain died. But yeah, that's a weird thing, man, covering down on somebody else's station. It's an odd feeling because it's never a good reason why you're there.
Yeah, even when we cover other stations, it's because of a fire, basically. But Long Island never came into FDNY.
Oh no.
No, that never happened.
Probably a union squabble.
We won't even go there.
Yeah. So when was the first day you actually like picked up your regular shift?
Well, it was basically a month later.
A month
started
later?
working. And I mean, you talked about the trade center, you talked about guys, talked about funerals we're going to be going to.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
They were
probably
nonstop.
nonstop, huh?
Nonstop.
Yeah.
But it affected home, it affected a lot.
Yeah,
So-
God bless your wife, man.
Yeah, I had no problem. I didn't end up with any problems.
Yeah.
But there's guys who got divorced. There's guys who went to drugs, drinking, suicide. Yeah, it wasn't good.
Was there a support system? Or was it just all buddies?
We probably, before 9/11, we had a support system due to some other deaths at fires. And it got bigger at 9/11. I mean, some people that were known. I worked with a guy who was basically I'll call him psychiatrist, but I don't know exactly. But he was like a therapist, psychiatrist type thing.
Yeah.
But he was pulled off the line, and he was dealing with guys, and there was a bunch of guys like that. So
Because
definitely helped.
leading up to 9/11, we had the Sofa Superstore down in Charleston. That was how many firemen died that day?
9.
9.
I think it was 9.
Charleston, yeah, the 9. And then you had Boston. Was that before Charleston? I think
No, I'm not sure.
there was like I think 6 or 7 firemen died up in Boston, and then that started like the Sofa Superstore fire in Charleston really changed communications in the fire service because they had a lot of communication breakdown.
Well, I read the report on that.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
a
that
lot of
was
tactics.
some cowboy shit there.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't have happened, but
No.
we won't even go there on that.
Yeah. So on 9/11, there was communicate like that was the standard. As I came up in the fire service, we studied the command structure and the communication of 9/11, and we really talked about it in our officer classes, fire officer classes, and how important communication is on the fire ground.
tell you, you talk about communications. We didn't even have radios,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember being in one building up on 20th floor, and I was looking down, and I started seeing them like starting to move debris and tools, and I'm like, what are they doing down there? And then it just so happened someone with a radio was walking by us, and we heard them say that if I don't know what building they were talking about. They said if that building's goes, it's going to take, I'm going to say, 2 west with it.
Oh.
And I looked at the guys. I go, we're in this building. I was like, let's get the hell out of here.
Oh, man.
We had no clue. And I'm just looking down, watching. Something's going on down there.
Yeah, why are they all running?
Yeah, they're moving everything. And I was like, I heard that transmission. I was like, we're out of here.
Oh, man.
That was the biggest problem. No, we didn't have radios.
Yeah.
But dispatchers did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, they really did.
I mean, you listen to them, they didn't lose it, man.
No, they were very professional.
There is a great documentary that I watch almost every year, and all it is minute by minute, and all it is the radio traffic. The whole documentary, 3 hours long, I think a little over 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's just the radio traffic.
It's brutal to listen to. It's like...
It is brutal, but I'll tell you, it's so professional between the firemen
Oh,
and
yeah.
the dispatchers.
Yeah, even the air
professional.
traffic controllers, everybody that was involved.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah, the Chiefs, like, there was a massive loss of experience on that day.
Oh, we lost a lot of experience. A tremendous amount.
Do you remember, because they kept the recruit class going, right? Do you remember getting any probies in right after that?
Not where I was. Most of the probies went to Manhattan.
Yeah.
And guys got promoted right away. But they were doing classes of 300, back to back to back.
Oof.
I mean, a tremendous amount.
I wanted to take one quick step back. I don't know if you remember or not, or if it impacted you or at all, but, you joined in 1983, and then 10 years later, we had we had a bombing at the World Trade Center in 1993,
Right.
10 years after you started. Do you have any recollection of that, or?
The only thing I really remember is that because there was a fireman that I knew. Originally he was like a probie in our place, and he ended up working in I think it might have been a rescue then, but he ended up falling in a hole, and I think he busted his back.
Oh,
wow.
They had to do a rope rescue to get him out of there, but he actually, the amount of fire was around him, supposedly he ended up taking a hood, covering himself with a hood of a car until they got down to him.
Damn.
Wow.
But yeah, I remember him. Actually, that guy's very, very famous on the job for doing things.
Yeah.
Kevin Shea. Kevin Shea is his name.
Yeah.
He did a rope rescue that was on 911.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
Kevin Shea is
he
a
got
famous
busted
name
up.
in the fire service.
And he got busted up.
Yeah.
But the only thing I would imagine that it brought awareness to terrorists to us.
Yeah.
I think that's when we started dealing with, starting to look into it, and maybe even started to listen to training about it.
So here we are, 20, how many years
24.
later?
24 years this Thursday.
Yeah.
24 years. What goes through your mind now 24 years later? I mean, what do you think about?
I think about my friends. I just think about that. I mean, come Thursday, even today, when I actually hung up something outside my house today. But it's just like it happened yesterday.
Yeah. Well, we did, Kenny, you remember we did the 20th anniversary podcast on my other show. And at that time, we were working on getting some special things to our firehouse, and that you were able to get for us. Can you want to talk about that?
Were you there when I got the piece of steel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it finally is. I have in the firehouse. I have the piece of trade center, and the guys, the 343 picture of the guys hanging up there
Yeah.
as a memorial.
Yeah, that was really special, man. When that showed up, and we put it in the foyer of the fire station, a piece of steel from the World Trade Center.
I wonder how many pieces went around. Because I know here in the city of O'Fallon, we have 2 specific memorials that have pieces of the Trade Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's I-beams all over the country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
St. Louis Science Center has a huge twisted piece of steel. Like, it's an I-beam that's twisted up like a pretzel.
I do remember that within that, 6 months after, 3 to 6 months after 9/11, obviously there were firefighters all around the country going there to, relieve everybody, support, help, filling gaps. And I know that here in the St. Charles County area, I remember them, donating a new fire engine into New York and then driving it out there. I'm sure there's quite a few people who did that.
Yeah, there was quite a few. Yeah.
Yeah.
We met a lot of people from all over.
How did that feel, Kenny? Like, being there, and then you see like firemen show up from Missouri or Nebraska or whatever, and they just want to come shake your hand and offer some kind of support.
Well, honestly, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
Because whenever we had a funeral, guys from all over the country came.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nothing to me that was out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
It was just in more of a full swing.
Right. And that's part of the brotherhood, right?
Exactly. So,
Any final thoughts?
well, the only final thought is I mentioned that book, Finding John. Check it out. It's
Okay.
a really good book.
All right.
And for the 25th anniversary, I know me and 2 other guys from here are going to be going up to New York for the 25th.
Okay.
So that's why I'm going to spend that.
Well, give me a call, man. I might go with you.
All right. I will.
Kenny, I really appreciate your service, everything that you did. Really do.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you for your friendship, boss.
You got it, LT.
I love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
All right, hang on the phone for a little bit. We're going to end the podcast. Thank you for listening, folks. If you want to... Oh, no, we're not going to listen. We got more to talk about. We'll be right back. So, thank you very much, Kenny, for joining us. That was real special.
Yeah, it was a great talk.
I cherish every time I talk to Kenny. He's a great man. So, Kevin, let's hear your 9/11 story. What were you doing that day? What do you remember? How do you remember it to this day?
Well, I remember it by the minute.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Which I guess a lot of people do. And I was actually in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I was doing some professional development with the company I was working for, Schneider National, which is a national trucking company. And I was off active duty. I was still in the reserves. I had my reserve unit here in St. Louis. And we were in training, and we had our first break because we were at a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And then our first break, we'll walk out, and it's the bar area, which is still generally closed.
Yeah.
But there was a bartender there because of breakfast.
Yeah.
And the televisions. And we walk out, and there it is on CNN, because CNN was the thing back then, 24-hour news. And you see, the World Trade Center burning. And, we ask, the bartender, what happened? Oh, a plane apparently crashed into the World Trade Center. And we're on break, and we're just standing here just watching. And while we were watching, we were all thinking, oh, that's terrible, how that could happen. And in our break, there goes the second plane, right into the second Trade Center. And my immediate thought at that point was, we're under attack.
Yeah.
That was my immediate thought. There was no shock and awe. Oh, that's terrible.
How could this happen twice?
Exactly.
Like,
it was immediately, we're under attack as a country.
Everybody had that thought. Yeah.
And at that point, we're trying to continue training. So break is over, you're going back into training, but people kept getting up and walking out, getting up, walking out. Finally, the class canceled. The instructor says, we'll just make it all up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that was not before lunchtime. I mean, because this happened in the morning. It was lunchtime when they finally just gave up. Mm-hmm. And because I kept going out, watching, getting updates. Well, when they finally broke the class free, I immediately went to the hotel telephone. I dialed my reserve unit, let them know that, hey, I don't know what the condition is. I don't know what's going on yet, but I'm reporting in, letting you know I'm up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. If something happens, this is the number. Contact me. I'll be on the road right away.
And you say condition as in threat con, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if they're going to alert everybody or put everybody on orders. I had no idea.
Right.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought that was the right thing to do. Now, my only concern was I flew up to Green Bay, and no rental car, no nothing.
Yeah. Good luck getting a rental car back too.
Right. And then later that same day, they grounded the planes all across the country. They just completely shut down the airspace.
Did you get a hold of your wife that day?
Yes, I did. Talked to her as well. She was watching it on the news, on the television.
Yeah.
And, they grounded where our hotel was in Green Bay was right next to the airport. That's why I didn't have a rental.
Yeah.
And, you get the normal hum of the airport, and all of a sudden it's just nothing.
Quiet. Total quiet. That was so strange, wasn't it?
Right.
The sky was
nothing.
clear.
And
so the order of events was World Trade Center 1 and 2, then the Pentagon, then Flight 93 in Pennsylvania. And it seemed like it was moving west. And for us in Missouri, it was like, whoa, is it going to be Chicago, St. Louis? Like what's coming next?
So here I am. I'm a transportation manager for a national company.
Yeah.
Class is canceled. I already called my reserve unit. I get over to the corporate headquarters. This is around lunchtime. Mm-hmm. I get over to the corporate headquarters. I walk in, and when you walk into corporate at that time, it's since changed, but when you walk in, it is more than an acre of open cubicles, completely open, and it's people sitting at computers doing dispatch and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I walked in. I reported to one of the general managers there that I knew, and said, "Do you need any help? I'm up here from St. Louis. I got nothing to do. Mm-hmm. Do you want me to help out?" And he said, "Absolutely. Go sit on that computer over there and help direct traffic away from New York." And so that's what I did. I sat there all day long, communicated with drivers, sent them to different locations away from New York.
Was this computerized communication at this point?
It is computerized. They were communicating through the truck. They had a company called Qualcomm.
Okay, yeah.
And so they had the onboard computers in their trucks.
Okay.
And so it's just a quick message, no more than like 60 characters.
Yeah.
And then you shoot them a message. And you're redirecting trucks and getting them to parking locations around those areas, or get them to an operating center that was near but away from that area. And so I was helping reroute trucks.
Was there any guys were like, I'm stuck in traffic?
Well, in the meantime, so I'm able to track and see where trucks are.
Yeah.
And while I'm helping out with this process, I'm also scanning for trucks who are in New York proper. And I was actually downloading messages and printing them off of people who were there, different drivers, saying, "I'm looking at the World Trade Center, it's smoking," or "I just saw the World Trade Center collapse." And date timestamp of drivers, just eyewitnesses, just everything that was happening, and printed those off. I think I got them buried in a box somewhere.
Dude, you got to find those.
I don't know.
That should go in the National Archives.
But printed off as many as I could. And, it was a very somber, sober day.
Yeah.
But, you're I no longer cared what was going on around me. I was so focused on either about to get mobilized and I need to help these drivers and do my part. And so I wasn't there, but I felt like I did my part that day and contributed. And I know that there was a lot of people who did something similar in so many different ways. And, finally getting off duty at the end of the day, going back to my hotel room, and all I did was watch the television all night long.
Nonstop. Yeah.
And, collecting the newspaper. I showed you, I still have the newspapers.
You brought them in, yeah.
I still have them. I still have 4 newspapers from those 2 days.
From the Green Bay area, right?
Yes, 2 from Green Bay. One was the Army Times, and I got another one down here in St. Louis. And, and then I started to finish out training. Well, then training's over, and, everything's grounded, and I got to figure out how to get home. There are no planes. So again, career logistician, even from the Army. While I'm still in training, I zip over to the airport to a car rental agency, and I was able to get a car before people were looking for cars.
Yeah.
And I had a car. And, I expensed that all back to Schneider.
Sure.
But I kept that car, and then when it was time to go home, I was able to go. I didn't have to worry about nothing.
That's good.
Nobody was looking for a ride. I was waiting for that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Didn't. I remember going to a local convenience store, like a 7-Eleven, and obviously it's owned by
Middle Eastern,
a different
East Asian,
maybe.
Yeah.
And he immediately, it's the day after. He's got flags everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm a U.S. citizen. I support America. Nothing happened yet.
Right.
But he knew what was coming.
He knew. Yeah.
And I all that was going on, and then I went home. And then my reserve unit, after I got home, my reserve unit was already planned to go to the NTC for training. And the National Training Center
before 9/11.
We already had it pre-planned.
Because that's like a 2-year, 3-year out plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my unit was headed out to the National Training Center in California, Southern California, in the desert. And, we're still grounded. But then I get back, and the flights kick off that weekend.
Yeah.
And we're a planning party. So we're going out there to finish the planning, come home, before we actually go back out later in the year, like a month later. And so me and 3 other guys fly out.
The rumor mill was probably insane of like, we're training for the desert because we're definitely deploying right now.
I wanted to fly in uniform.
Yeah, no.
But they said, no, we're flying in civilian clothes just like normal. And then we get there, and you go up to the counter. Now, for those who don't remember or they were too young, the way this kicked off with the hijackers is they had box cutters, and they took over the planes by charging into the cockpits.
The cockpit.
And those days
used
weren't
to be
locked.
Open. If the door
Correct.
was open, you could see the pilots.
Yes, they were either closed, but they weren't locked or secured in any way.
Yeah.
And they took over the plane, and they flew the plane. I'll get back to that in a second. And then they were doing their thing. So by the time we fly out to Las Vegas before we drive over to Barstow out of St. Louis, we all said when we walked up to the counter, hey, I'm military, Army. If you want me up near the cockpit or wherever, you can redo the seating. I'll take that. And a couple of us were able to get moved around in different ways.
It's like first class up there, man.
And control the, in case something was to happen. They appreciated that. Getting out to Las Vegas, not a big deal. Did our normal stuff, done, and then we're only there for like 2 days, and then we got to fly home. Well, flying home, the line was from the gate. It zigzagged. It was like going to an old Six Flags ride where you're zigzagged 200 deep.
Right.
Except it's like 1,000 people deep.
Wow.
Because everybody's coming home from Vegas.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. They were all stuck there from before.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're all lined up forever, and we're going, I don't know if we're even going to make our plane. Surprisingly, we did. But brand new. There's no such thing as TSA yet.
Yeah.
And it's still just the normal airport security. You had to take off, you didn't take off shoes yet.
No.
Because this
that
came
was
later.
a couple years later. Yeah.
But, they searched everything.
Yeah.
And if it was a cutting device of any sort, out. Nail clippers, out.
Yeah.
They ditched everything and looked in every little nook and cranny, searched every person.
Can I say real quick, pre 9/11, back in 1998, I set off the bomb detector at the SeaTac airport.
I was never that bad.
So I had my Leatherman super tool, which was issued to me by my unit. We all carried these super tools. And the special thing about this, it had a Phillips head screwdriver, which none of the other Leathermans had that. This was a special one. Had a Phillips head screwdriver, and it was the perfect size for a blasting cap. So we would use it to prime our C4. We would push it in a C4,
Right.
and then the
And then the cap could slip in.
could slip right in.
Yeah.
And so I just had it in my backpack. It was just a normal thing I carried. So I'm going through SeaTac Airport trying to go home to St. Louis on leave, and all these red lights going off as my bag goes through this thing. And they were like, hey, step aside over here. We need you over here, and I need your ID. And we're like, all right. I was like, by myself. Okay, here's my ID, but here's my military ID also. And they're like, oh, you're military? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool, man. Well, we're just going to swab your bag real quick, and we'll search it if we have to. So they ran the swab over all the zippers. They didn't even open my bag. Ran the swab over the zippers, put it in this giant machine, and it alarms. And they're like, it tests positive for explosives. I was like, well, I'm a combat engineer, and part of my job is demolitions and explosives, and maybe some. They were like, oh, okay, all right, cool, man. Do you mind if we search your bag real quick? I said, yeah, go ahead. They searched my bag, pulled my Leatherman out. They're like, what's this? I said, well, that's my Leatherman tool. I use it to prime explosives and, whatever. They opened it up. I was like, oh, yeah, there's the little, yeah, you see right there? That's like C4, probably. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, have a nice flight, man.
You have residue on it.
Yeah, I had C4 residue on my.
See you later.
Yeah, they're like, have a nice flight.
Afterwards, after 9/11, they would have arrested you.
Oh, dude, I would have had an anal cavity search and been stuck in Homeland Security.
So that it was a long line, long wait.
Yeah.
But you could tell people just did not know what they were doing at the airport. They were just trying to provide security in some way.
But at the same time, the people in line probably were.
Nobody complained.
Nobody complained.
Not a single person.
They understood.
Yep.
Right.
There was no violent outrage. Nobody throwing stuff at the person working the counter. Everyone was laughing.
Mm-hmm.
We all knew.
Yeah, this is what we have to do.
Now we see a video on TikTok every other day about somebody going ballistic in an airport.
Chicken fingers on a cruise ship.
You all don't know, a bunch of babies. You have no idea.
Well.
But anyway, so
yeah.
that was that.
Yeah.
And then, flash forward maybe 3-4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And the FBI put out a notice. And one of the things that they were looking for were individuals who, actually they didn't put out a notice. It was a news story. What was unique about these terrorists at 9/11 is that they would attend flight school.
Flight training, yeah.
But none of them wanted to learn how to land.
Right.
They just wanted to learn how to fly the plane.
Right.
People found that peculiar. But they're like, okay, well, we'll just do it. I mean, you give me the money. I'll teach you how to fly a plane. Not knowing,
Yeah.
right? So
It was in Florida, right? Like there's a lot of schools were in
I
Florida.
don't remember where.
I think they're in Florida.
But that clicked in my head.
Uh-huh.
Because here I am working for Schneider. I have lots of drivers. I interview them. I talk to them. I
It's like,
try
how
to
do I-
befriend them.
I just want to learn how to drive the truck, not how to dock.
I had one driver
Yeah.
who I talked to, and he told me
Where was he from?
he was from overseas, Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that.
Okay.
And he told me one time that when we were talking is that he was on his spare time attending flight school down
Right.
here in Southern Illinois.
Yeah.
And I
remember you
went,
told me
oh,
this.
that's real interesting. You're attending flight school. And, just that was it.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less. But then 9/11 hits.
Yeah.
And all the news stories, all this stuff's coming out about the background on these terrorists. And that started to click in my head. And so I actually sent a message to the leadership at Schneider National. I said, this particular driver, who is currently driving for us, doesn't work for me anymore. He he transferred. He went to flight school, and he had a similar situation in which he just wanted to learn how to fly the plane. And
Wow.
I found this peculiar, and I think you all should know about this. Well, things happen. I don't think about it. About a month later, I remembered, oh, I sent this message. So I looked online, looked up the driver. He was no longer employed with Schneider National. So I went, so I dug into the driver notes because drivers all had notes. You can view them. And I viewed the driver note on this particular driver. He was deported.
Good.
And I go, you know what?
Yeah.
I did my duty to this
There
country
you go.
at that moment.
He's lucky to end up in Guantanamo.
Yeah. So anyway, that was
Good job, Kevin.
my 9/11 day and quick post 9/11
So you went and did your rotation at NTC, and it sucked
Yes.
as usual.
Actually, I didn't mind on MTC. I liked it, other than the
Yeah, of course.
sandstorm.
You were an officer, so
The
you
sandstorm
probably had a good
sucked,
time.
but everything else was good. And yeah, all of us were constant. We're constant in preparation. You knew at some point something was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because by this time, this was October. So, it's only 30 days later, and things are already brewing and happening. Matter of fact, I think October we're already in Afghanistan. I think toward the end of October we first did the Ranger assault.
Yeah.
I think. So, things were moving. You just didn't know, and we were in that preparation mode, and having to have that conversation with my wife. I'm going to get called up at some point. Just don't know when.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping the memories, too. You showed me your scrapbook with all the newspaper clippings. I mean, you go all the way back, dude. You got a lot of really cool stuff archived.
Early 80s.
Yeah, that was neat to see. Berlin Wall coming down, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Reagan assassination attempt.
All the Libyan assaults.
Libyan, yeah, the stuff in Libya. It was really cool.
All I know is, we're a couple days away from 9/11, 24 years, and they call it now as the national holiday, Patriot Day, and there is a lot of truth in the fact that we as a nation came together as one group, and I am so thankful that I was alive to witness that. It's unfortunate that it only lasted about 6 months. But still, everyone was united right away, and to see the world response.
Do you even remember who Bush ran against his second term? Who was it? Oh, John Kerry?
It was John Kerry.
Yeah. What an idiot. Thinking you're going to beat George Bush in re-election.
It's hard to beat a wartime president, which he had no intent of ever becoming a wartime president.
That's another show we'll talk about.
Oh, my gosh.
But, I think Dick Cheney thought he'd be a wartime president. But,
Don't know.
Yeah, my 9/11 story, the only thing I really remember that the first thing that sticks in my mind is going into my son's room that morning, and he was born in May 2001. So was that June, July, August? He's 4 months old, 3 months old. He's laying in his crib taking a nap, his early morning nap. And I just remember reaching down and holding his hand while he sleeps. And I said, "You'll never know what it was like before today."
Oh, that's so true.
And that's what really stuck with me. Like, you'll never know what life was like before today. There is no more. I just had that gut feeling. There's no more. just free willy running across, like I drove when I was 18, drove across the country in a van, not a minivan. It was a conversion van, but and didn't have a concern in the world, a care in the world at all. And after 9/11, there's the constant threat, of something could happen. And I just remember standing there crying. I was literally crying. And because my heart was broken for him, that he would never know what it was like before today. And,
well, yeah.
18 years later, that same son joined the Navy while we're still in active combat because of 9/11. That, to me, is the most mind-boggling scenario. Just to think about it, like, that doesn't make sense. He doesn't even know why we're fighting the war, really.
Yeah, that's the thing that was disappointing is it didn't take long after 9/11 that, they passed the Patriot Act.
Yeah, terrible.
And I fought the Patriot Act tooth and nail as much as I could. And it goes back to, it was either Franklin or Jefferson, something along the lines of, we're trading our freedom for security.
Benjamin Franklin.
And
those who would trade their freedom for security deserve neither.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we did. And the world we're living in today is a direct result of really the Patriot Act.
Absolutely.
And everybody thought we're doing the right thing, but we didn't do anything good by that. No one dug into the details. I was already digging into the details when they were trying to pass it.
Yeah. Representative Jim Jordan, he's still in office. He's one of the worst perpetrators. Lindsey Graham. Who else? John McCain.
Because even from the transportation perspective, I'm thinking of the impact of just driving a truck driver.
Oh, yeah, they're all in your business.
They're required, every 50, 100 miles at that time, they had to stop and do a bomb check on their equipment and document it.
So I think this is more of a topic for our conspiracy truth episode, not conspiracy theory, because a lot of conspiracy theories have been proven true since 9/11. And I didn't get into it with Kenny, and I hope he doesn't mind me talking about this, but on the 20th anniversary, I asked Kenny, have you ever seen a steel structure collapse from fire in its own footprint? And he paused for a good 10 seconds and said no. In my 20 years of working at the FDNY, the only time I've ever seen a steel structure collapse due to fire was on 9/11. And there's plenty of commercial structure fires that man's fought. So we'll save that for another day, man. This to me,
different kind of fire,
dude. Not really. Fire is fire.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
Well, we can talk fire science when we have this conversation, Kevin.
Not even close.
Well, you have no idea what you're talking about right now, and I do. So I'll educate you.
Let's see. An oven catches fire versus a plane with 800.
I will educate you one day on this, Kevin, and that'll be another episode. So thank you for listening on the Headspace and Tasting podcast. You can get a touch of us with us on Facebook, Instagram, X, or you can email us at showmemk@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you later.
Peace out.